Sweet. All right, looks like we're live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the awesemo.com live before lock show. The dessert on the many courses of food which we give you and content on any given day. I'm Chris Spags, joined by the baseball savant, and he has that nickname because he's the owner of baseballsavant.mlb.com, Jake Hari. Jake, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Yeah, 12 game slate and no real MLB slate tomorrow. I mean, 3 games, so I've kind of already looked over that, and it's not all that fun, honestly. So it's gonna be a lot of football talk, and I know you're excited about that in the next coming days. I mean, we'll talk baseball this stream, but after this, I'm pretty excited to make some NFL lineups. So I'm sure you're right there with me. Like, once football comes around, it's like, man, do I really want to play a 3-gamer on a Thursday when there's NFL tonight, and now they have Showdown? And I mean, I know Showdown sucks, but at least it's something, right?
Yeah, I mean, MLB, is definitely phoning it in for night 1 of the NFL, but yeah, I'm with you on that. We're going to talk some Showdown slate tomorrow. I think we're going long tomorrow. Josh and I, we're also going to have Awesemo on tomorrow instead of his usual Wednesday spot. It's a little easier to manage with Josh instead of Jake, because Jake's crunching. Jake's got his own things production-wise. But Josh is our guru, so we'll have Alex on for that tomorrow. But yeah, it is football season. We're going to have a Sunday live before lock show. We still do have that promo code going on as well. If you're trying to get the all-access season-long pass for our NFL content, it's code NFLA20. That's NFLA as in Adam or Andrew, 1 or 2 of our guys on this channel. 20, and you get $20 off on your season-long win. Spags, congrats on your home run call last night. My home run call was not correct last night, so that hurts. I don't know if Earl Fountain's just mocking me right away, but yeah. No home runs. Jake, for the record, I did note your home run in the spreadsheet. If it is a thing where we're tied, then it will count that and you will win. That's, I feel like, the most fair thing. But to me, it's like, we do these on the live before lock show. It's on the live before lock show. If we start doing them, like making home run calls on A to B or on the deeper dive, those don't count. It's got to be here. It's got to be on the mainstream, the main boat.
All right, that's fair. As long as the chat knows who the leader is and who the winner is going to be at the end.
It is reflected in the spreadsheet. Honestly, though, if you had put it in the spreadsheet and you guys actually updated, I would have been like, fine, whatever. But you didn't do that. But so now it's marked. It is noted in the column. Jake is still in the lead regardless. He might be further in the lead. We'll find out. But let's talk baseball. We got 12 games today, as Jake mentioned. A lot of action going on. A lot of weird pitching. A lot of Mike Leake. What are you doing tonight at pitcher, Jake?
Yeah, so gonna spend most of the show, if I look at a little distracted, trying to keep up on the weather for the White Sox game. It doesn't look great right now. Just straight up, does not look great. I want to play Kopech really bad, but like, we've already been burned twice by him in his 3 major league starts, where he's gone out. He's looked okay in all of them. In the one start he actually got to pitch against Detroit, he was really solid. The strikeouts weren't crazy or anything, but yeah, I really want to play him. I like Glasnow a ton. Pivetta is chalky, and I think he deserves it. And then let's see what else we're doing. I've just kind of got a smattering of the low tier guys, like the Aaron Sanchez. Well, I guess Valdez isn't a low tier guy, but I've got Alcantara, a little bit of Cashner, a little bit of Homer Bailey, even. Just
really,
yeah. After watching the shows after ours today, Adam especially made a really good point about Mike Leake's probably not going to be the reason you win a tournament tonight. And man, do I really want to play chalk Mike Leake? Is that really where I want to plant my flag?
Got Barria right there. I mean, they mentioned Barria too. So look, those guys yesterday, they do a great show. The deeper dive guys, Laffy and Adam, right before we come on. They do a really good job breaking down the slate. They talked me into Trevor Richards yesterday, which I'm not thrilled about. That didn't turn out so well. Yeah. On one lineup I felt really good about overall. But no, they do offer some interesting points. But I think the one thing they said with Mike Leake was like, Barria's right there. That to me is where I felt as well. Like, Barria is not a player I love. He's not great versus righties. He will get taken yard here and there. But I think he's turned it around enough. I think he's okay. I mean, maybe not turn it around, but he's at least up and down enough where I'm okay hoping that he's got a down night tonight. So that's the main pivot I'm making. Josh, in the chat, the Chubster is playing 0% Leak. So that is something.
Yeah, I'm getting towards that. I'm getting towards 0% or 5% or something. I mean, it's not going to be. I said 25-30 today, but I think that's a mistake. I think it's a mistake to play Leak if you think he's actually going to be 35+% owned.
I don't mind Leak. I get the matchup. The thing with the Orioles, though, is they've either been hitting home runs or really not getting on base and very little in between. And Leak is a home run prone guy, so I think you're really walking into a potential buzzsaw situation with him. And that's not where you want to be with a guy who's going to be 30% owned. Like, this isn't a fantastic pitcher who's in a perfect spot. It is a mediocre pitcher who's in a pretty good spot, which is not as good as it, or rather not as good a spot for a pitcher as it may seem, because Baltimore has been hitting a little better the last month or so. So yeah, I'm with you on that. People mentioning Giolito in the chat. Giolito too, another guy who, these guys are tough. I was off on Giolito last night. I think it's the same case though as Leak though, where you see the positive stats, but once the ownership is there, I'm okay letting other people have him for tonight. Yeah,
I mean, they just make such a good point about, is he really gonna kill you? I mean, if anybody gets 25 at 6K on the slate, chalk or not, you're not winning probably without them. A 6K pitcher or whatever going nuts like that. But I mean, what are the actual odds he spikes up to get 25? I don't think it's very high. So if he gets 20 here, I'm gonna be a little disappointed. But I think there's a good chance that maybe a guy like Alcantara, Jaime Barria, going up a little bit. Mike Fiers, I think, has a decent chance at that. So I just don't think it's really necessary. I get Fiers probably has the best matchup of all these low tier guys, but that doesn't mean he's just a lock for success here.
Yep. Yeah, no, I completely am with you there. If you are a premium member of our website of Osmo.com, we do have Osmo's lineup card up tonight. Just because we don't have him on the show today doesn't mean he is not busting his butt making content. He breaks down basically his approach to both the pitching and the stacks tonight and gives you the likelihood of success for all of them. So go check that out if you're a premium member. Again, just one of the offerings we have amongst many now. We got projections now. We have the deeper dive column. We have Osmo stuff. So there's a lot of things out there for you if you are a premium member, in addition to all the free content that we provide you on this here YouTube channel. People are talking about Pittsburgh in the stack. Steven Taylor saying Pittsburgh's going to go off, going against Homer Bailey. What are you doing with your stacks tonight, and is Pittsburgh a part of what you're doing?
Pittsburgh is going to be a part of what I'm doing. I mean, anytime I'm playing Bailey, I'm usually playing both sides because I just never know with this guy. He is missing bats the last few starts, still giving up runs, and I don't expect him to pitch perfect here. But if he can just be serviceable for 4,800 and no one's on him, I think there is some value in that. If he's terrible again, which is probably the more likely outcome, I mean, I'll have Dickerson and Colin Moran and Ozuna. I think me and Josh agreed this morning that they're pretty easy to fit in. You see the first three guys and you're like, man, they look pretty expensive, but no one after that is above 4K, so they're not super tough to fit in. And yeah, I will have some Pirate stacks.
Yeah, for the Pirates, I mostly went top three in Cervelli. I mean, I think they were mostly my four-mans. I didn't, I think Dickerson's ownership is a little high for how he's performed, not in the most recent run he's had. I don't know. I kind of just got away from him at some point, even though price-wise he makes a ton of sense. Ozuna as well, obviously at 3,300 on DraftKings makes a lot of sense. But to me, I like the top four the most. Frazier and Polanco and Cervelli in particular. I think 2 through 4 look really good against Bailey, getting some lefty matchups. Bailey is pretty bad versus everybody, but it is obviously a little bit of an advantage to go opposite-handed there. What other stacks are you feeling? I guess, how are we feeling? We might as well just get to it now. How are you feeling about Colorado? Colorado, obviously, core is a popular place to attack. The deeper dive guys talked about that at length. Both of them very big advocates of Colorado, I believe. What are you doing with Colorado tonight?
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to not like Colorado. Talked about Suarez, about how he just really benefits giving up so much hard contact in a park like AT&T. And you can see it in the numbers when he goes outside of AT&T. His WOBA shoots up, his ground ball rate goes down. He's just not a good pitcher outside of AT&T. So I'm all over Story and Arenado and LeMahieu and Blackman, Desmond, all these guys. And I'm not saying anything that anybody who's played DFS knows or doesn't know, but Yeah, I'm going to have a ton of them. I'm not making some crazy stand, like fading them or anything. This is an awesome spot for them.
I'll tell you one guy I am fading as part of the stack, which is going to be a little bit of a contrarian view, especially given that we currently have him projected to be one of the highest owned players on the slate. Again, if you're a premium member, you get to see all the ownership projections that we talk about in all the shows we have on any given day. Nolan Arenado's been hurt, and actually the media's been talking about it a lot, and I feel like, people are looking at it from a pure number standpoint and thinking like, oh, his slump is like, he's going to break out of it. He's been pretty cold lately. He hasn't been getting on base as much, hasn't been driving with any power at all, and apparently he's been having shoulder issues, which are pretty bad and seem to coincide exactly with this swoon. So I think he's actually a pretty easy fade as part of that stack. Now, I mean, watch him fucking get a cortisone shot and be fine and smash 5 home runs today. But I do think I love Arenado always. Somebody comparing me to look like him once on the stream was like one of the nicest compliments I've ever had on the internet in many, many years working online. But I'm okay fading him tonight because I do think he's hurt, and I think there are better plays on that side. Bunch of righties who can hit it right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Arenado, if that's a huge stand you're taking. So if you're right and he is hurt and he's not able, or whatever, he has to come out, that's a huge edge on a Colorado stack that's going to be super, super chalky.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that is sort of the pivot point. And that is one of the things that we try to preach here when we're talking about lineup construction and ways to get off the chalk. I mean, if you can take a chalky stack and find a lower-owned piece of it like Ian Desmond, who's at first base, and first base is a popular spot, but he is a right-handed hitter with power. And if that guy goes off, Arenado falters, and then some other third baseman, whoever it may be, Taylor Ward or something random like that goes off, you're sitting pretty. Let's see. Arenado with one shoulder is a better hitter in Coors than half the field. Also a fair point, Andrew. Also a fair point. We'll see. Yeah. I think on a slate this size, you can fade an Arenado and hopefully not get crushed. If he has 35 points, we will look back on this with great disdain.
Yeah.
What else are you doing stack-wise, Jake? What else are you above the field on in a noticeable way?
I like Texas, but I kind of mentioned that I'm pulling some back because I am playing some Berea now. I like Milwaukee against Jose Quintana. Just not a fan of Quintana. So much hard contact to righties for him, and Braun batting cleanup for 4,100. Aguilar, I think, is underpriced. Same with Lorenzo Cain.
Cain's been filthy lately.
Yeah, just kind of a solid value stack there. The first 5 or 6, if you want to include Moustakas. So I'm on the Brewers, the White Sox. I've been on them since last night. Just too cheap for them. So if you're going with like a Kopech, Glasnow combination or something like that, they're super easy to fit in with also great bats. Everyone loves to target against Bartolo. So I have some Angels, but I think I'm under the field most likely. Let's see. The Cardinals against the chalky Tanner Roark. Although I don't know if he kept that ownership that we saw this morning. Yeah, he's lower, significantly lower than what we saw earlier this morning, but still people are going to be on Roark. So I like the Cardinals, just so much power, and Roark's going to let them put the ball in play, which I always love when I'm looking to stack low-owned teams. And then I wasn't really on a full Nats stack before, but I do kind of like them. Just Harper and Soto in there, and then Zimmerman and Rendon and Turner, they just all hit righties so well. So it's very specific guys I'm going to in the Nats stack. I kind of want to cut it off after the first 6. I'm not a big fan of Defoe or Pedro Severino, but I will have some Nats stack, more exposure than I thought I was going to have this morning.
Where are you with the people in the chat are talking about Ohtani and his need for Tommy John surgery, though he still will be in the lineup tonight, still will be hitting, but it's more of a pitching affecting injury as we've seen over the last couple weeks. What are you doing with the Angels tonight? They are another team who the deeper dive guys talk about at length. They are going against Bartolo Colon, who is not good at anything at this stage of the game besides raiding buffets. What are you doing with the Angels?
Yeah, I mean, I'm playing the Angels for sure. I really like Jose Miguel Fernandez for 3,200, batting 5th. Just a really, really good value guy with some power. I like Arcia as well at catcher, 3,700. People will probably see that and not want to play him because of the unknown, but he's got over 50% hard contact against righties this year. I'm not really worried about Ohtani. Like, you just think about it logically. They wouldn't be playing him, like hitting him, if he's like got a chance to re-injure that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like he's like their future. Well, one piece of their future. Obviously, there's Mike Trout. But I don't know. How do you think people are going to react with no Trout in the lineup? Do you think people will get off the Angels a little bit?
So I was off the Angels most of the day because I didn't love the lineup. When they ruled Trout out, I was immediately like, I'm going to get on the Angels because I think they do have some good hits. I'm talking myself into Jose Miguel Fernandez whenever he's back in the Angels lineup, and he's always fucking terrible, so I might just be a little biased there. But I think the Calhoun to Simmons stretch and then Taylor Ward I think is a pretty good play down at 3,700. He's got good pop. He strikes out a ton, but he does have pretty decent pop. And I think that's sort of the matchup versus Cologne, which I want to go against. But I think either of those guys are fine. I think the stack definitely got more appealing to me though once Trout was ruled out, because a lot of people, I immediately saw people in our live streams online on Twitter who were like, yeah, no, they're putting this terrible Angels team. I might even play Cologne. It's like, nope, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Like, and maybe they're right. Maybe like I think that Laffy and Adam laid out a pretty good case why you wouldn't play Cologne. But I do think that look, it wouldn't surprise me if Cologne did something, but I don't think this is the spot. I'd rather be on the side of people getting afraid of a matchup at Globe Life.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you can get a stack with less ownership against Bartolo than you originally thought, it's always a nice way to go. Just throwing up meatballs, like you said, just like a ton of fastballs, and not fast fastballs either. It's just if he's off on his command even a little bit, he's just gonna get demolished here. You've got Ohtani and Anderson Simmons and just guys with power. So yeah, I like the
somebody
for sure.
Kunal asking, is Cole Calhoun in the lineup? Cole Calhoun is hitting leadoff Kunal, so yes, he is. He is in fact in the lineup. We will do. People are already given their home run picks. Marcos, one of our guys, we will give our home run pick in 5 minutes. We'll see. It is now getting down to crunch time. We are in the final month of our season-long race for the crown of dongs. Who will pick up and proudly wear the crown of dongs by the end of the year? I'm honestly sweating it now. I don't love the way that it's shaken out. I like that Josh is in last place though. That is one thing I think we can all agree upon. It really worked out well in that one perspective. We'll do those in 5 minutes, or a little bit less probably. So let's talk a little bit more. People are mentioning Kopech in the chat because we do have a promotion going on in which if you leave a comment on one of the videos predicting Michael Kopech's FanDuel points, you will get a free month if you are the closest in terms of the projection you give. So go leave a comment about Michael Kopech's performance tonight on FanDuel on one of the videos that we have. Pretty much any video, Josh will peruse them all and put them together. And whoever gets that right gets a free month of all access to our site, all the premium content for all the sports on Awesemo.com. So go do that now. What are you doing with the White Sox game tonight weather-wise? Are you still riding?
I'm still riding right now. Kopech's ownership, so I had him in for about 50% earlier today. And that was if the weather was going to clear up. I'm going to have to lower that because I think the field, he's going to be like, what, 5% owned? And also, Josh, what are we going to do if this game gets rained out with the point total? Like, what if he doesn't even play?
I guess we got to just do another promotion. All people's guesses will have been for naught. I'm not playing the game, honestly. Like I've been scared off of it all day, and I wanted to get there, not for Kopech, but for maybe some Detroit, maybe some anti-Kopech. But I haven't been there because of the weather. I think the weather's looked bad all day on all the sites that I check. So I'm scared. I'm afraid of that game.
God, you're trying to talk me off of it. Wouldn't it be just so baseball if he gets 2 games rained out, everyone's tilted, they're off of him, and now this game looks like it's really dicey and no one plays him, and it's just the ultimate reward there for the two rainouts. So I'm gonna have some of him, even if it looks pretty bad. But if I was single entering at this point, I would not have Kopech, or even probably 3-maxing. I wouldn't have him. Can't take a risk with 33% of your lineups or 100% of your lineups in a single entry.
Oh, there we go, Josh. If Kopech does not play at all, we'll do a new one for Friday. So your Kopech guesses, if you are trying to do Price's Right rules to win this and guessing 0 for his projection, assuming it's going to get rained out, that is not going to work. We're too good for that. We're not going to get Price's Right it out here. But Josh is not changing his Kopech exposure. So, but with that, what if he has 0? What if it's a fucking Josh, one of classic Josh tricks?
Did he? I thought he had some this morning.
Maybe it changed. I don't know. Gotta wait for those final crunches.
No, I'm pretty sure Adam.
It's so expensive.
Yeah, Adam talked him into it. I think on the the process show. So
I know they've been talking about Kopech a lot. It's basically become the Michael Kopech variety hour on the process in the morning. I don't see it at all. Like, if he were 8,000, 7,500, sure. 9,000 is a lot for a rookie guy who hasn't shown a ton yet at the level. I've been surprised by the love for that. 30% for Josh for Kopech.
30%. That's probably where I'll end up too, Josh. So I'm not getting off him unless they say there is a monsoon coming. This game is not playing, or I have AccuWeather pulled up right now, so I'm checking for myself. In addition to whatever DFS weatherman you guys like, I want to make this call by myself because I know the weathermen, they get a lot of backlash when they get stuff wrong, so they're more likely to say, well, it doesn't look safe for starting pitchers because it doesn't affect them because they don't play, and they just want to be right. So I'm just more likely to take risks, and I've been burned playing these weather games all the time. Early in the season, I think I just, mostly with hitters, but Kopech's just going to be too low owned where it's a good spot if the weather will clear up.
I got 0% Kopech, and that is not changing for me. I'm riding. Just like I had 0% Giolito yesterday, I have 0% Kopech today. I'm not only going exclusively against White Sox pitchers, but the weather, the price, not for me. Let's do home run picks. Jake, you are the front runner right now. You are the guy in the lead who's come on strong in the second half. Unlike Josh, who faded into oblivion like a rapidly aging player on the cusp of retirement. It's just sad. It's just sad for some people. But
you there, Chris? Did you go away for a second? Your audio's gone. Can you guys hear Chris? You guys probably can't hear Chris right now, right? Anyways.
Can you hear me now?
Yep. There we go.
All right, so it's the fucking AirPods. AirPods, I think Lafayette had an issue with his yesterday, too. They don't work well for this environment.
Are they switching over to your phone?
Yeah, or something like that, or just disconnecting for no reason.
Okay.
But yeah, anyway, back, make your pick.
All right. I got distracted there for a second. But
it's all part of my mind games. I turned off my audio just so you could make a bad pick.
No Coors. Are we doing Coors tonight? We're not doing that garbage, are we?
I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind it.
Come on.
But we could not do it. We could not do it. If we all agree not to.
Yeah, if we all agree not to, I think that's... I mean, come on. I would just pick Trevor Story or Arenado. That's stupid.
I would also pick Trevor Story.
Yeah.
For the record, we would both actually pick Trevor Story if we were playing everything.
Man, this one's kind of tough. I wasn't prepared for this one. I'll take Jesus Aguilar.
Ooh, all right. Yeah. Marking it down. Jesus Aguilar. For me, we'll see what Josh's pick. So, all right, somebody in the chat asking thoughts on Ohtani tonight. Is injury going to affect his hitting? He's had this injury for a while. So you know what? I'll show how much I believe in Ohtani. I will pick Shohei Ohtani for my home run.
I like it. We've heard about this injury. I mean, we were on the show when that news broke, and
I thought he was going to be out for the year.
Yeah, Cole Calhoun. Josh says it's a good pick.
What a cock!
Congrats, you guys are picking against the guy who's given up 29 bombs this year. Congrats.
At least I picked a guy who had injury news. It seemed on theme. I wanted to prove my confidence in him.
Sean V. Jesus Aguilar, no chance of donging tonight. No chance. Not a chance. Right.
Aguilar's due for a home run, I think. He's been hitting well, but not getting him out of the park.
Zero chance. All right. Well, we need double dongs. I mean, yeah, you're right. No chance for just a singular home run. I mean, if he gets 2 at-bats, he's donging twice.
Oh, Josh said he had Cole Calhoun picked before I said Ohtani, so... Fair enough, Josh. I stand corrected. You're still a wiener boy, and I want to give you a wedgie.
0 chance against Quintana. 0.
No chance at all, Jake.
Mathematically does not make any sense.
No. He could have a million tries, he wouldn't hit a home run.
All right. That's fine.
That's how baseball works. All right. What else? Let's see. What else we got to do? Any good questions in chat? Any good questions that aren't either ors, guys, in chat? You want to give us something?
Quintana's going for 20 plus tonight, Sean B says. Okay.
Yeah, nothing too good in chat.
There's not a ton of great stuff.
One other stack, since we were talking stacks before we started the home run thing, and my AirPods betrayed me once more. I don't mind Miami tonight. I'm not a Pivetta believer on this slate, and Miami's been good to me. They were pretty good to me on Friday, too, in particular. They've been hitting well. I think, a bunch of young players who seem like they're kind of rounding into form a little as the year goes on. So I actually don't mind Miami as a very, very low-owned stack and a leverage point with Pivetta. And I think a lot of people are going to be looking at the leak leverage, some other leverage spots. I think maybe that's one to look at because Pivetta is getting a lot of ownership.
No, that makes sense to try to leverage off of or get leverage on the Pivetta owners. I don't know if I would do it in the context of a full stack. I think I would go with like a Real Muto just because $4,600 catcher against a chalk pitcher. I mean, no one's going to be on that, and I think he's probably got the best chance of a homer off Pivetta. Pivetta's got home run problems. I mean, he really struggles outside of home, so it's not like a perfect spot for him by any means, but a lot of righties. So I think I would go with Real Muto or Ortega just because he's cheap leading off. He actually grades out pretty decently in my model.
Yeah, for me, I know for a fact I have at least one 1 through 6 stack minus Rojas of that team. They've just been hitting well, and like I actually watched their game. I forget who it was they played on Friday, but I just had a lot of their stack, so I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll watch it. And they were hitting like really well, just hitting in a way where I was like, I think we always kind of have these predispositions, especially industry wide, against like the Marlins and the Padres and some of these teams. And I think Miami's been a little interesting to me recently. So, Jay, just a thought. Christine's a wedgie for even thinking of stacking Miami. Hey, it's contrarian views. That might be the name of my new show. Just thinking about different things. Just getting less chalky by the day. That actually is the pitch, Jake, for a show that I might be doing that I've been forced into, or not forced into, but been told I need to brainstorm some more shows.
For here?
Yep.
Really? You gotta tell me more off stream then.
Doing some contrarian takes, possibly with our boss, but we'll see what shakes out.
Really?
There. Yeah.
Wow. Wait, which one?
With Alex. I like this. I guess it could be with Tom too. Yeah.
That'd be cool. Both of them. I mean, either one.
Yeah. Just get everybody, but yeah, we'll see what happens. But I think this particularly with MLB, and as doing these shows every day and talking to you guys, and obviously with ownership stuff that we do on Osmo.com, we certainly are like looking more at that, as we go. And I think it's definitely trained my brain in a way where like I'm looking for these different leverage points, the shitty pitchers we look at every night. So hey, contrarian views. Yeah, you know what? Lose some money some nights. That's why you limit your exposure.
Contrarian views lose money. Oh God.
You look at the top of the tournament, Steven Taylor. What do you see? It's always something contrarian, at least at one spot.
Yeah, I mean, you can make a contrarian lineup if you have one guy that's 1% owned and the rest of them pretty chalky. I mean, not if everyone else is 90% owned, but that doesn't happen in baseball. So you could have a full Rocky stack, 1 through 5. But if you differentiate with, let's say, a Real Muto or whatever, and he dongs or double dongs like he did last night, then you're just so far ahead of the field. Even
somebody asking Jake, are you going to do some hockey preview shows before the season starts?
That's a good question. I mean, maybe this isn't the time for it, but like, what would you want to know on the hockey preview? Just like an intro to NHL DFS. There's not a ton to it, honestly. It's more about slate by slate, like talking about which lines are going to match and which guys are skating together and stuff like that. But
you should have to do a full one like we did for NFL, where you go position by position for many weeks, laboring over data sheets, and then you do a whole summation at the end telling people how to play.
I don't know if I could do that, but maybe your lineups. Yeah, I don't know if you'll be able to see my lineups, but you can see them hopefully at the top of the leaderboard. I mean, we could work in some Fantasy Cruncher and see how to build at least.
Jake, you're going to be doing these NHL videos with Josh Engelman, the new hockey fan who's going to have to learn all of the finer points of hockey data and build a spreadsheet. No, Jake will be doing something for NHL. Well, we also have some more people on staff now doing NHL, so there'll definitely be more content as we come. We've barely gotten NFL season, guys. There's been so much stuff going on, but we are going to be figuring out NHL and NBA very, very soon. Matthew Prodwell talking about my boy He-Man Choi and Brandon Lowe. What are your thoughts on the Rays tonight? And I guess Lowe was a guy who the deeper dive guys kind of mentioned a lot. Very cheap, 3,200. What are you doing with the Rays stack?
I didn't end up on a bunch of full Rays stacks because Sanchez is not super chalky. I figured he would pick up more steam as the day goes on. Right now we've got him. Yeah, I mean he's not even that chalky, so kind of loses the appeal a little bit for me. I just don't love these Rays hitters. I know they've gone off a couple times, but I have a hard time just like stacking up Kiermaier and Wendell and Malik Smith. I know he's got a ton of speed, but I wish Bowers was up higher in the order. But I will have some two-mans with Brandon Lau and maybe Bowers mixed in there, maybe some Kiermaier. I mean, yeah, it's just not guys I really love their individual matchups, so it's hard for me to get to a stack.
So I do. So Bauer, I think part of the reason Bowers has got bumped down is he's gotten really cold. I mean, like I've been on Bowers a lot this year, and he's just on a really bad streak, and they're trying to get him to snap out of it. So maybe getting down the order will help once Sanchez kind of tuckers himself out. But I actually think it does make sense. Sanchez has just been really, really bad lately. He's not giving up a ton of home runs, but I think that's actually to Tampa Bay's benefit because they're more a team who'll just death by 1,000 cuts you and just keep getting on base, getting on base. So to me, I think it does make sense. I think I have a lot of 5-man skipping Kiermaier and getting down to Low. I think I have some Adames as well. So I think it actually does make sense going against Sanchez in that spot. Not a great team total. I mean, there's still some ownership there, but I think in terms of a stack that can make you afford other things, I definitely don't mind them and think wouldn't surprise me if they just racked up a bunch of hits and it just kind of kept going and going.
Yeah, I mean they're not a team with a ton of power. So if you are playing them, I guess you're kind of right. The stack does make sense because, if they put up 8 runs, it's probably going to be with doubles and singles and just like guys getting a ton of correlation off each other. I don't think it's going to be with someone double donging or it's going to be all spread around. So it makes sense.
Yeah. The only guy with real serious power there. I mean, Lowe's not terrible. But Choi is really the only guy who I think functionally, in terms of what you look for in a one-off, a guy who could hit a home run and just kind of bail you out. I think Choi is the only guy who fits that criteria. But a lot of those guys are just good hitters. Malik Smith will get you some steals. I think they flow well, and yeah, I think that's part of why I would go with a full stack there instead of trying to pull out a bits and pieces of it. Let's see. Astrubal is a must-play, according to our boy Sean V. Philly came through big last night. Another very contrarian lineup yesterday that did well, and I think was in first place at the end of the night. What are you doing with the Phillies tonight?
I ended up with more Phillies than I thought I was going to, and that's just because I'm just kind of full stacking them. If they can get Alcantara out, who I think is actually okay, if they can get him out, they get to deal with that Marlins bullpen and. That's just a real disaster. So, yeah, it's like the power guys. It's Santana and Bohr and Asdrubal and Reese. I love for 4,600. So, top 4, and then for the 5th guy, it'll just be a mixture of the rest of them in that lineup.
Yeah, I think Cabrera has been hitting really well, so I could see why Sean V would be in my recency bias guy would be more on him. I think Santana. I think Santana being top of the lineup too is pretty interesting. I almost definitely would go Santana over Bohr, just because I think he's a better hitter. I think it's an interesting stack. Not one I got to tonight, and it kind of makes me worry a little bit just because Cabrera's been so good, and Alcantara to me doesn't grade it out too well. He gets some swinging strikes, but everything else seems pretty poor in his outings he has had. So I don't see anything wrong with Philly. Just not where I'm at. Oh boy, if you fade Asdrubal Carrera, spelled ASS, so really disrespectful to poor Asdrubal, go ahead and get yourself evaluated for clinical insanity. Sean V, really declaring medical emergencies for people mentally if you are not playing Cabrera.
He's homered in 4 straight games versus the Marlins. Well, were all those off Alcantara? I mean...
yeah, in the exact same situation.
Let's see...
And Jesus Aguilar will never hit a home run because he hasn't done it.
Glasnow plus Pivetta with Philadelphia and St. Louis. Yeah, I mean, I like that. I like both those pitchers. I have exposure to both of those stacks. So, yeah, I'm no issue with that, Matthew.
So Glass reminds me, we did not talk about Jameson Taillon at all, and I am all over Jameson Taillon tonight. Like, all over him. Like, way too much Jameson Taillon.
So if there wasn't Kopech, or he makes for an interesting pivot if you're scared of Kopech because of that weather. So I get it. But I am making a pretty big stand on Kopech even with the weather. So I didn't end up with very much Taillon at all.
Yeah, so Taillon's last couple outings, the swinging strike rate's up to 13.3%. Chase rate's a little under 46%. His whip's down to 0.85. XFIP down to 3.08. His Ks per 9 also up. He's given up a little more home runs, but, like the rest of the stuff, like if anything, I would assume the home runs should drop back and he should kind of come out with the stronger parts. The only thing that worries me, Cincinnati's been hitting pretty well lately. Jeanette's been on an unbelievable hot streak. I had him yesterday at 2%, and he had 2 home runs, and it made me feel real smart. But but Taillon, I do think Taillon showed even if Jeanette does get hot, same thing as Musgrove yesterday, you could still have a great day, especially with that strikeout upside. So I like Taillon a lot, and I think since I'm not playing Kopech, Taillon was my guy who I used as a pivot point for a lot of lineups. So big Taillon guy. I don't know what happened. I used to hate Taillon. Now he's just doing it for me.
Taillon's good. I mean, I have no qualms about Taillon. Like, if you want to play him, he may be a little bit overpriced, but no one's going to be on him, really. Maybe a few more people now that, we've got this issue with Kopech, and he just makes for an interesting low-owned pivot if you don't want to go to Glasnow. But I do prefer Glasnow over him.
Sean V again mentioning the nobody. Was it Sean V? Somebody saying no home runs off of Quintana. Quintana gives up more than league average home runs versus righties. That's just the league average is I think 2.9%, and Quintana gives up 3.6% home runs. So that alone would mean that he is not. It's very much not impossible for him to avoid giving up home runs. Let's see.
I mean, we're playing baseball here. Anything can happen, pretty much. So.
I just wouldn't say, out of all the guys you could say, he's not going to give up a home run. He does give up more than the league average home runs. Versus lefties, he won't give up a home run probably. Or if he does, it's very sparing. But versus righties, he actually does give up a lot. So that's a totally fine spot to target. Dope home run call, Chad Pinder. Yeah, what are we doing with Luis Severino tonight? Are you playing him straight? Are you fading him? He's had some struggles, a lot of struggles.
Yeah, I'm off Severino. Just because I think I can get similar upside in Glasnow and Kopech. So everything just kind of comes back to them with me when I'm talking about pitchers. And Pivetta, too, for that matter. So I think Severino's fine. I think he probably has a pretty decent start here. I'm not crazy about the strikeout matchup. Oakland has not been striking out against righties, going back to July 1st, under 21%. And then Severino's had trouble going deep in games. So add all that together and how the slate sets up, and yeah, not on Severino. That's kind of scary, but here we are.
Yeah, I'm barely on Severino too. I paid up for bats more. I felt like Taillon had same thing as Jake. I felt like Taillon had the upside instead of Kopech, but I think to me I was willing to go that route instead. And I think that Severino's a totally fine play, even if he does give up a few home runs, which he very, very well may. I think that he'll still get enough strikeouts there to be useful because he is a good enough pitcher. But I just don't think he's worth, for me, at least what he's shown the last couple of months, I don't think he's worth being the highest priced pitcher on a slate where you have guys who you don't hate.
Yeah, exactly.
Are there any games you're fading because of weather? Has anything changed for you, Jake? Are you afraid of any of the weather out there?
Well, I'm afraid of the weather in Chicago, but no, I am staying on that game for now. I'm going to make the call. The game starts at, 8:10 Eastern, so we've got an hour and 20 minutes about. So I'm going to make that in about an hour and 10 minutes. It would take a pretty crazy storm or a pretty terrible looking radar for me to pull all my Kopech. So as of now, the plan is to stick to it. If you want to ask me at 8:05 or 8 o'clock or 7:45 Eastern, then I'll be in the Slack. You can just tag me and I'll let you know what I'm doing. But as of now, I'm keeping Kopech.
Tom asking, is he crazy for going all in on Weaver?
Wait, all in on. Who?
Or excuse me, Wheeler. Sorry.
Oh, I was like, Luke Weaver. No, yeah, that's crazy.
It would be crazy to go in on Luke Weaver tonight. Yes, that is correct.
Oh, by the way, we just did get an ownership update. If anybody's watching this, so you can go. Wait, what? Yes, time. Oh, you can go in the ownership projections and refresh that.
That was very helpful advice you gave there. Yeah. You really broke it down step by step.
Right? Yeah.
Just go click the link on the homepage.
Click on ownership. Click again. 3 hours of thunderstorms for Kopech. Yeah, it's going to be him throwing a complete game shutout with 14 Ks. It's going to be quite the thunderstorm that Detroit gets poured on.
What about Wheeler? What about Tom's question? Is he crazy? I don't think it's. I would never want to stack against the Dodgers personally, and I don't think Wheeler's that great of a player, in that matchup. But
I think Wheeler's fantastic, and I know game logs aren't everything, but you look at what he's done lately. He's going 7 innings almost every time. He's getting strikeouts, and if he's not, he's getting you the 7 innings. He's giving you a really nice floor. So, again, there's 2 or 3 guys that I prefer that have better matchups, and or are at home. So I'm not ending up on much Wheeler. I can check my ownership percentage on him right now. I'm running one more crunch, but not much is going to change. So I got 5% Wheeler. So I guess I'm going to be over the field unless something changes in a big way in my next crunch. But yeah, I think that's kind of what we said this morning is if you want to be overweight, he's not someone you have to go and play 50% of because no one's going to be on him.
Yeah, I think Wheeler's like a fine pitcher, and I think if you believe a lot of these other pitchers are going to get blown up who are popular, I think Wheeler is sort of a safer version of that. I just don't like paying a premium for him because I don't see the strikeout upside quite as much. I mean, I know the Dodgers strike out a little, but I don't know. Like Wheeler doesn't get there quite as much as like DeGrom does, let's say, strikeout wise for me, and I just don't want to pay that price for him. Especially when I got Tyon right there, my boy Jameson.
Your boy Jameson.
Your name for a whiskey. You immediately shoot up my rankings. Let's see. Which Pirates do you like in a stack? I guess we'll circle back to the Pirates. We talked about them earlier on. Which Pirates would you like the most out of a stack there?
Dickerson for sure. I like Cervelli a lot at catcher. I don't think he's overpriced. Polanco and Marte, those are the 2 guys that'll be pretty highly owned along with Dickerson. Kind of tough with all these outfielders though, man. Like Ozuna, there's like 5 guys that are outfield eligible. So yeah, I think it's Dickerson, Polanco, Marte are my favorite ones, and then Cervelli at catcher.
For me, so like he's overpriced. I like Adam Frazier a lot though, just as a hitter in general. I think he just he's like one of those guys who strikes me as like a professional hitter where you're just not going to get him out on easy stuff, and he's going to kind of battle and fight. And I think versus Homer Bailey, that's just what you have to do, just hang in there long enough, and eventually he's going to fuck up and give up something that you can just take yard. So that's for me. That's why it's Frazier. But I think for me, Frazier, Polanco, Cervelli, that's my favorite part of that stack, and I do have a lot of 3 men on that. Let's see. Kopech the Rain Man.
There you go.
That could be his nickname.
I mean, it's just gonna rain every single time he starts. Apparently, he's just gonna throw 3 innings his entire career. Man, the universe really wants him to be a reliever. Just really wants him to be there.
I'm sure the White Sox would be very happy if their top prospect ended up just throwing 2 innings every single time.
I mean, he could throw just like 103 every time, so they probably wouldn't mind that.
Are the Giants a decent GPP stack?
Yeah, they're in Coors against a guy that doesn't miss bats. And I was actually just trying to get more Giants in my lineups as someone was asking that. So, yeah, I mean, I really prefer Belt and Alan Hansen, but, yeah, they're a perfectly fine GPP stack. It's Coors Field. They're going to be relatively low owned, too.
Yeah, I mean, for that price at Coors Field, I think that alone would make them pretty appealing, and none of them are above 10% ownership, at least on the last ownership that I checked. So that alone, I think, makes them interesting. They've just been really bad lately to the point where I definitely have more Senzatella, and I think Senzatella is like not a good pitcher. And we kind of talk about this, how I think players, DFS players, tend to lump in pitchers like, oh, they're all the same version of it. So people are going to see him and think he's as good as Marquez, and Marquez just destroyed him. And like Marquez is really good, Senzatella is really not good. But despite all that, I'm still playing more Senzatella than I am San Francisco. So they've been really bad lately, like just really bad. Nobody's getting hits. Nobody's getting on base. don't know what's going on there, but I think Senzatella maybe can be good enough versus that dumpster fire that they are.
Yeah, Giants not a very good team, but yeah.
As a GPP stack, makes sense.
Right, exactly. It's crazy stuff happens in Coors, and they're certainly familiar with the stadium. So whatever your first game in Coors narratives are, I mean, I don't think that's gonna matter.
Sean V declaring that Jesus Aguilar will not homer off of Quintana fact, and then Jason Kelly points out Sean V is just playing the odds. It's more likely that, of course, he would homer than he would.
I mean, exactly. Congrats. I can say right now, I'll be right on 95% of players if I do that.
Not hitting home run.
Even against Homer Bailey, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Sure.
I
do think also going against the baseball savants a tough move by Sean V. I feel like if not, you're good. You're good at this, Jake.
I know I'm good at it. But whatever.
Switch. Messed up crunching lines. Got a bunch of Cashner. What do you do? Lamar Mustangs is asking, would you switch Cashner for Senzatella?
Switch Cashner for Senzatella? No, I would not. I think I would go with Homer Bailey, honestly, over Senzatella. Is that a hot take? That's not even a hot take. At least Bailey has missed bats in some starts this year. I know he's not great. He is capable of having okay starts, though. And Senzatella is in the way worse hitting environment. So that's what I would do. I'm not making a stand on either one of them, so it's not like I'm playing a bunch. I'm not playing any Senzatella, but I do have some Homer Bailey, so that would be the guy I would go to. Why are you on Cashner in the first place, by the way? I think that's the more important question.
I would just split that up a little overall. Just get a little taste of all of them. But I do think getting some Senzatella in there makes sense. I think some, even some Homer Bailey. If that's how your lineup shook out, now you have 8 minutes left and you're panicking, I think just get in a smattering of the three because they're all pretty much a dice toss. Juan Pierre will not homer tonight.
Right.
Everybody, get your non-home run picks in. Make your bold non-home run picks.
95% of you will be right. I will not. Whoa, that's not a bold prediction. That is a bold prediction, Zach. I'm actually no. I'm not even playing the Millie Maker. But I might throw a couple. That's a lie. I am playing some entries, but not 150. So
yeah, I'm probably gonna play a couple for the showdown tomorrow just to get a taste and get it in. But I don't know. I don't know how much I'm gonna do for the Millionaire Maker. I've already made I'm doing a lot of 20 maxes for NFL so far, and
just a little taste to get it in. There you go.
Yeah, it's a little taste of God's story of my life. Homer Bailey will not home run tonight. Everybody, bold picks by everybody in the chat. We appreciate you guys really going on a limb. What is the mini-max? Nate Freeman, the mini-max is usually what people refer to. It's either like a $1 or a quarter, max 150 entry. I feel like
it's either $1 or 50 cents. Yeah, it's the only tournament that's below $5 with less than $25,000 in prize pool that you can play 150 lineups. So it's just really good if you're getting started with MME. I played it all very easy and there's no skill involved. Try it out for yourself. You don't need Fantasy Cruncher. You can get any optimizer. There's free ones. Fantasy Cruncher is obviously paid, and that's what we all use. But yeah, try it out. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, Captain Jenks asking, what do you think of an A stack tonight? If you want to be super contrarian and go against Severino.
No, I didn't get there. Full stack at least. Someone asked earlier, which bat would you play against Severino? I think for me, that would probably be Matt Olson at 3,800. But there are a lot of good first basemen, including the GOAT, Jesus Aguilar, tonight.
I would probably go Piscotty. He's been hitting it well, under 4K. I think that would be the guy I would go with as a pick against Severino, but not crazy about it. I think Severino's in an okay spot. It wouldn't surprise me if somebody took him yard. I don't see anybody really jumping off the page for me besides Piscotty and maybe Chapman. But yeah, I'd probably go Piscotty. Let's see. It's hard. I'm losing a little each night since multi-entering. What would you say to that, Jake, about multi-entering? I feel like you're going to lose a lot at multi-entering. It's when you win, it kind of evens out.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you should be losing most nights. If you're not losing most nights and playing 150 lineups, you are just the greatest player of all time. Like, you're going to lose more often, but you want to have those nights where you put yourself in position to win a huge one. In the mini max, that's like $1,500. That makes a big difference. Or in a bigger tournament, that's tens of thousands of dollars. If you're losing 20% of your entry fees a night, that's a fine night for an MME player.
All not counting from Labor Day. Yes, we did, Brian. The home run is reflected on the spreadsheet, but I don't even know who it was who hit our home run. That's the part of the process too. Like, there's got to be a name. There's got to be a whole thing.
Rizzo.
Oh, well, I didn't know that. Now I know, but no. Nobody said Rizzo yesterday. I don't know. The point is, Brian, it's on the spreadsheet. It does not now officially count because it did not occur during the Live Before Lock show, and that is the franchise that belongs solely to the Live Before Lock show. But it is on the thing, and Jake will probably get its account by the end. But hopefully it won't matter. Hopefully I'll have 5 more guys in the next couple of weeks, and then we'll all be good.
Wow. Don't root against me. I never root against you.
No, it's true. I mean, it's really somebody has to beat Josh, and everybody ideally have to beat Josh. That's really the main goal as a team. If you want to get either ors in for the last few minutes here, get them in. We got 3 minutes before lock, so do it.
Yep.
Sean V, don't get cute and try A's against Severino. They all suck against the slider. I don't believe in a full stack, but I think if you want to go one or two one-offs, knock yourself out. Angels or Philly stack on FanDuel, which would you go with?
Angels first, then Phillies.
I would also go Angels.
Angels are super cheap on FanDuel. I know that. So.
Jesus Aguilar, dong or no dong? I would say Jake is firmly in Team Dong.
I'm on Team Dong.
I don't know if I believe as much in Jesus, but I am playing him in a lineup, at least one. So.
I mean, I have a bunch of Brewer stacks, so yeah, I'm going to put arguably their best power guy in there a bunch of times. I
agree. So. They've been hitting well. The Brewers have been doing well, and I think Miller Park is a positive hitting environment, so it makes sense. Kopech or Ryu, which would you get?
Kopech, so whatever.
It's Ryu for me, and it's Tyon more than Ryu if you can afford him. Chris, what do you think about the air yard stat in NFL? I think it's a good stat. It replaces average depth of target. It's useful, but it's not the most useful thing in the world for most players. Like an Antonio Brown, his air yards probably don't matter. But, let's say whoever, like a Chester Rogers or somebody like that, or an Eli Rogers rather, his air yards will matter because he's only getting 3 or 4 shots at it. So that's when that comes into play a little more. Let's see, Ryu in a would you go Ryu in a single entry GPP?
Yeah, I think he's going to be lower owned than what we originally thought this morning, so I have no issue with Ryu. Overall, I just prefer other options ahead of him. He's not like a guy I'm being like, oh, Ryu sucks, got to fade Ryu. No, he's a perfectly fine play.
Yep, I think it's totally fine too. If he's your guy, he's your guy. He's not my. I still prefer Tyon. Jake probably prefers Kopech, but I think Ryu is totally fine amongst that group. Quintana owns the Brewers. They got to him last time in Chicago, but Quintana much better on the road. Sean V, I think you're talking yourself into picks a little bit sometimes. Like you're pointing out you're a BVP guy, but you're pointing out they just got to him last time in Chicago. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's just whatever fits the narrative. That's fine. Whatever. That's how people want to play. I don't think that's profitable long term, but there's more than one way to play DFS. So he's allowed to do whatever he wants.
How are you with Glass now on FanDuel?
Oh, love it. I mean, he's super cheap on FanDuel. I mean, if you throw out enough hot takes, exactly. If you throw out enough, you're going to be right. I mean, that's the Skip Bayless model, right?
That is true. Those are outrageously hot. Those are piping hot, fresh out the oven takes.
Jake is a hot take. Oh, well, thank you.
Is Ohtani still in play? Feel a late scratch is coming. He is still in play for me. Everything says he's going to be playing. I feel like maybe this will be his farewell game for the year. Go off on a high note, murdering Bartolo Colon. I don't know. I'm playing him, though. I'm riding with him. I'm out.
Yeah.
And there we go. We are locked. So let's see. There was one football question that came in. With Bell Sig this week, do we just lock in James Conner? I would say no, because Connor doesn't catch the ball, and it's a pretty tough running game matchup versus Cleveland. To me, I'll give you my guys a lock right now, which you can take it or leave it. Alex Collins is my guy, who I think is really, really going to be under-owned and undervalued in a million ways. And I think he's going to have like 30 points. I just like the matchup is too good versus Buffalo. And it seems like the ownership's not going to be there. Everybody's going to be on Kamara. Everybody's going to be on David Johnson. Everybody's going to be on McCaffrey if you go cheaper than that. So I actually have a fair amount of like Gordon and Collins type stacks for running back this week. I guess that wouldn't be a stack, but.
Yeah. So looking at it now, also, by the way, just to mention this, I did end up with 8% tie-on. So because I limited Kopech before my last crunch. So
there we go. Well, welcome to the
crazy,
team.
But yeah, no, I mean, we talked about him today. I really liked him, but I just didn't like him as much as Glasnow and Kopech. So how many times am I going to say those two names, by the way, today? Am I just going to, like, is that my new thing? Just anytime, Glasnow and Kopech, Glasnow, Kopech.
You like young arms with movement. I feel like that's been your your thing that you've trended towards.
Yeah, I do like that. A lot of movement.
Ooh, AJ Green and Dalton, the Millie Maker winner. Sean V, I may have a very similar take to that in my column, which is coming out tomorrow. I do not have a name for it yet, which I'm going to be really thinking about tonight. But I agree that Dalton's in a great spot. Indianapolis' defense was very, very bad versus the pass last year. And a lot of things. Dalton's air yards are up to over 10 in the preseason. I think there's a lot of good stuff. But we'll talk more baseball tomorrow. We'll talk more baseball in the coming days. Or excuse me, more football. More baseball, too, obviously. Talking every sport, more NHL coming. NBA is literally 6 weeks away, I learned today. So how about that shit? No days off.
Time to make up your bed. My bed is made up. I just don't have a comforter yet.
That's right, Jake is in a new house, so everybody send Jake your housewarming gifts.
Yeah.
Bags of shit probably lit on fire.
Honestly, yeah.
All right, Jake, any parting words for the folks before we dip out?
Thanks for joining, as always, guys, and it was a fun stream. Let's win some money tonight. We got NFL tomorrow. Win some money so you can give it back on the showdown slate.
Yeah, it's a showdown slate. You would probably give it back. But yeah, we'll be here tomorrow. Josh and I will be on. We're going to have Alex Baker, better known as Osmo, our founder and boss man, be on talking a little bit as well about the short MLB slate, a little bit of football talk. We might go long tomorrow. I don't really know how it's going to shake out with just the 4-game MLB slate and NFL, but you'll find out what we do tomorrow. So thank you guys for watching. Become a premium member of Osmo.com, and we'll see you again soon. Bye, guys.